All right, everybody, welcome out to the Cars, Bars, and Guitars podcast, episode number 2. I am AJ.
Hi, I'm Steve.
Steve, who are we brought to you today by?
What the hell am I drinking this time?
What do we have? No, or sponsor, not what we're drinking. What are we what are we sponsored by today?
Circuit City,
Where service is state of the art.
where everything falls apart.
The remnants of an ancient civilization. That and a Blockbuster around the corner. I had a friend that worked at Blockbuster. This is so or the 90s? No, it was 2000s. He's like, yeah, I get free rentals on stuff. I'm like, cool. Now people think you're a fucking idiot. So today we're going to start out, talking about beer. Steve and I are both drinking are you drinking the Birdsong? No. Okay.
Negative.
I got you. We have a guest in studio, but she's not talking. So what do you...
Just wave at the camera, Kaylin.
Yay.
She says hi.
It picked it up. What are you drinking today, Steve?
What did us plunk into here? I don't remember. It was good.
You don't remember what you poured?
An awesome beer with an unfortunate name, the Tumwater Double IPA, courtesy of the Rowdy Audi.
Tum.
Rolaids spells relief.
Yeah, they're bad at spelling. I'm drinking a Honey Pie Double IPA from Birdsong Brewing Company. It is abso-freaking-lutely delicious. 8.9% brewed with cloister honey, whatever that is. And this is from Charlotte, where we are.
It's better than oyster honey.
I would try it. I'll try anything twice. So
so much at least 2 of the 3 people in this room bought cases of it upon release day.
Yeah. So everybody, we went to Birdsong, and I was like, last year they were $10 or $12 for a 4-pack. Was it
cheaper than this year's model?
Yeah, so it was $16 this year. So I was like, I'm gonna get a case. That was 6 4-packs, and I drank 3 beers there, so get my total $112 later, and I only have a 4-pack left, I believe. It's that good. If you still could find it in the store, or I don't think they have it at the brewery anymore. If you can find it at the store, go nuts on it. Go buy me a couple, and I'll reimburse you. Cheers to that.
And if all else fails, run by Noda Brewing and pick up the Sunlight Hopcakes.
Oh yes, but I drank that last time, so I can't drink it this time on here. So speaking of beer, been getting into IPAs a lot in the last couple of last couple of years. It's funny how 5 years ago IPAs came out, really hit hard. Didn't come out, but hit hard, and it was just bitter, had no flavor. To me, they were just bitter to be bitter. They weren't bitter to have flavor or nuance to profile. It was just, here, we're going to put a shitload of hops and things, and we're here, hope for the best. But lately, we've been having a lot of groovy IPAs.
It's true. And that was definitely an acquired flavor that... It was something that I hated so much upon first trying them. I looked up, having to understand, why the hell does this exist? Well, during the British colonization of India, they needed a beer that could survive the trip. This is the pre-refrigeration days. Hops act as a preservative. So, a hopped-up beer travels more easily.
So are you saying, though, the more IPAs we drink, the older we will become? Because it preserves it.
Much like us here and now that we're getting older as we speak.
True.
Yes.
But we do look the same. You look the same as 10 years ago.
You look like me? I'm so sorry.
We look... Well, if you had really blurry vision, we look similar from a ways away.
Kaylin, contacts out now.
But no, that does make sense, and I remember you telling me that story before.
Would Wikipedia lie to me?
For a little while, Thomas edited. Actually, Thomas and
He's still a stunt driver, right?
You knew where I was going with this.
The rest of the people
no, it wasn't.
Not.
Yeah, I believe it was Thomas. So Thomas, Will, and Alex edited the Wikipedia page for Albemarle, North Carolina, the city, not the sound, and it was Thomas was. They made Thomas a famous stunt driver for Hollywood. I think they made Alex the. I'll have to call him. I might have to phone a friend here shortly. But it was something really inappropriate and really funny, and it was on Wikipedia's page for a good 3 or 4 years before anybody caught it because nobody wants to look up Albemarle, North Carolina. I've been all around North Carolina the last couple of days. So work day job Thursday. Thursday night we played in Salisbury, North Carolina.
Home with the steak, right?
Yes.
And my first and last speeding tickets.
Oh, yeah? Did not know that.
I can't drive 85 and 85 apparently.
I mean, it
Or
says
shouldn't.
It says 85. I mean, drove up there, played, drove home. Got up Friday, worked 9 hours, drove home, then drove to Greenville to play. South Carolina, not North Carolina. That would be a hell of a drive. Drove back home, got up, and then went to my mother-in-law's birthday party. Happy 60th birthday, Mom, too. You're not going to listen to this. but happy birthday to her.
Ramona.
Yep, she's 60, and because she's Asian, she looks 29, and that's how that works. So everybody was there, and her family, when they get together, they're incredibly rambunctious, more so than you would ever think just by looking at them. But they have beer too, and if they have beer, they're good with me. Had mimosas this morning. I turned them on to man-mosas. You know what a man-mosa is? It's Miller High Life and orange juice because it's the champagne of beers. We need to have those on here one time.
It's certainly possible.
That's going to have to be a morning time podcast, though. I have my limits on drinking orange juice after noon.
No, it just depends on when you brush your teeth. You could have your man-mosa, mimosa, whatever have you, a screwdriver for all you care, whenever you want.
A man driver.
Go on.
So we're getting into IPAs. I don't know, what's your number one style? What's your go-to where you enjoy it? Doesn't matter really which one it is. It's your go-to.
Frankly, IPAs have probably usurped the Vienna Lager, so terribly sorry, Red Oak or Shinerbach.
That's a bold statement.
Definitely find myself drinking more IPAs, probably just out of the sheer volume that they can be had versus the sweeter, maltier beers.
True, which I still go for the Russian Imperials and the dark. I go for the if it's not beer if you can see through it mantra.
Thanks, Shani.
Yeah, who?
Colin's mom.
That's right. How are the McBrides doing?
Them's doing all right.
Gotcha. And I guess Colin and Jalais are doing all right now too. I don't think they're probably going to listen to this either.
He was almost going to be in town this weekend, but since we were tied up last night, he wasn't going to go.
What was going on last night that you were tied up? And why wasn't I invited?
You don't know the other people with whom we went to an escape room. It was a party of 6, and it could only accommodate 6 people.
I went a different way with the tied up. Can't be never mind. Never mind.
Maybe next time for the murder mystery tour.
Anyway, so I think my favorite, my go-to is Russian Imperial Stout. I just over 10%. Black is my sense of humor. I want my beer so black it goes to night class and get counted absent. I want it that black.
What's your stance on the black IPA? Well, which is it, man? Black or pale?
It's a blacker shade of pale. Thanks, Procol Harum. No, that's for my mom. She loves that song.
I think you're going to need to expand your band's catalog outside of the 90s to play that one. That would be a good one for you, though. Have some fun with it.
We get requested a lot of classic rock, and then people will ask, why don't y'all? We want to hear some Eagles, and then my first thought is, come on, man, I hate the fucking Eagles. But I don't go that way with it. I just we don't play classic rock. Every cover band plays classic rock.
You really should play some Poison because they will be the Eagles of death metal. Better yet, just play some Eagles of death metal. Maybe not in France.
I would rather play Poison by Belle Biv DeVoe. Back to back with a Poison song. Early or late 80s, early 90s hip hop is the best hip hop. It's not mumble trash like it is now. It's fucking terrible. Every time I see something that takes off, I'm like, I don't know what this is. I need to YouTube it. I need to Google it. And and then I look it up, and then I wish I didn't. So have you seen the? I think it was the Lil Pump, the Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang. You don't know what I'm talking about. You should look that up and then puke and then let me know how it was. It's fucking terrible.
It's no Michael Kors gang.
Speaking of purses, though, what a fun trick to play on your wife for Christmas is to wrap a nice Coach box and have her unwrap it, and then when she opens it up, it's the complete box set of Coach on DVD on the inside. That's a cool trick to play on her. Ask me how I know.
So you gave her the full Nelson. Something more Craig T.
But no, I looked that up and I immediately hated it. And somebody actually took out every repeated word, and the song was only like 5 sentences long because he repeats the same shit over and over again. So that's good songwriting right there. Like Rihanna finding love in a hopeless place, and then doing it again, and then again, and then again, and it just repeats.
Maybe she should have been more hopeful.
So we guys,
I found Diamonds unforgivable, so I'm not giving her another chance.
I like Ron White's Diamonds bit. You remember that one?
That'll shut her up.
Well, yeah.
For about 3 minutes.
Ron White's bits are great because it just gets progressively slurred, and he gets just progressively drunker as the episodes goes on. That's fantastic. It's about the only palatable member of the Blue Collar Tour, if you ask me. I can only take so much of Foxworthy after a little while.
You might be a redneck if what?
If your gun rack has a gun rack on it, and we are.
For what it's worth, it was 10 years ago I made the drive from Ocean Isle, North Carolina to Columbus, Ohio. 14 hours and 700 miles to make that trip since I got stuck in traffic twice or thrice along the way. In ye old 97 Tacoma. No cruise control, no problem.
Oh, hell yeah.
But at the time, had an early USB input flash drive playing stuff on it, and listened to what might have been the entirety of the Blue Collar Comedy Tour on that trip. And he was definitely one of the shining stars thereof.
Yeah.
I mean, since then it's going outside the realm of you might be a redneck if, here's your sign, or get or did.
Ugh. And you know, Larry the Cable Guy actually is...
Not a cable guy?
Yeah. Believe that shit or not.
Is he not here to fix the cobble?
Have him dress up like Jim Carrey's Cable Guy. I never saw the Cable Guy.
Me neither, actually.
It looked a little too silly, even for me to watch, coming from a man who loves Billy Madison.
I think it's gonna be okay. We need to see Ace Ventura meets Ferris Bueller.
You're out of beer.
And that didn't take long.
No, it didn't. We need I was going to put a refrigerator in the studio, to which wife said, no, because you'll never leave the studio, because you'll have everything you need up there. I said, yeah, you're probably right.
My concern was going to be a completely different reason. Fridges are too noisy.
I could unplug it during recording hours, which I haven't recorded anything since...
2 weeks ago.
No, I haven't recorded anything. I wrote the album, then I took a damn break because that shit's pretty taxing when you're doing all the writing and playing and recording and editing and mastering and mixing. And it was fun. I'm glad I did it. But
too bad your sound man's in Guam.
That is true. But it is nice to when a sound person says, "No, you did a pretty good job on the mixing, man," especially for your first time. So I was like, "Hey, I feel pretty good about myself." Let's see here.
I didn't realize KitchenAid made audio software. Wrong mixer?
You know what bothers me? The Cuisinart brand. I hate that because it should be Cuisinart. Because you don't say, I'm going to get a frozen lean Cuisin.
Touche. If anything, like, all right, you're only making food with this. Why do you want something with Queasy starting off the word?
Young Queasy sounds like a new rapper's name.
It wasn't?
That was Young Jeezy.
That actually popped up on Groupon. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this discounted.
Why is it that you get, it says ads that are targeted to your interests, and they're never targeted to your interests? It's like when you go to the supermarket and you buy a granola bar, and a 6-pack of beer, and you get a coupon for tampons and dental floss. Like, it's completely unrelated items. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this.
Well, you never know how bad your next nosebleed's going to be.
You know what? I don't think I've ever I'm not going there. I don't think we should go there.
This would have been a fine time to last snort.
A man of his word. Saw a lot of Malays cars for sale on the back roads of South Carolina. And Toby and I, on our way to Greenville, we didn't take 85.
So we would take 29 the whole way?
We didn't take it to that extreme. We took 77, and we went in between Rock Hill and Columbia, and we got off on like Mr. Joe's Road, Highway 6. We took a really roundabout way to get there, and it actually worked out for the best because 85 is always a dumpster fire, A. And to borrow a line from you, too, there's always it's rush hour, so at any rate, so we're going down. There's a lot of old cars for sale, and Steve and I are sucker for old cars. And Toby's like, if you know Toby, you'll get it. There's not a goddamn thing out here. I'm like, yeah, you're right. And then like 5 seconds later, we see a sign that says, I think it says county playground or county rec center, 1 mile. And we're like, hey, civilization. We haven't seen a house in miles. And it's like county rec area.
Not even tree houses?
If you broke down, you would die. You would never. Nobody's around. No houses. No. Your cell phone doesn't get service. So we see the sign. And it opened up our eyes. We saw the sign. Rec. So we see and we're like, hey, a rec center in a mile. At least there's something. And I promise you could ask if this is funny as hell. We get up on it, and there's a sign that has the rec center, and it's a swing set and 1 slide, and like a picnic table, and that's it. That's the county rec center in this. I don't even remember what city it was in South Carolina, but if you want to go there and have you a blast,
sounds very modeling for modeling.
Like, boy, there's a lot of fun going on. I was like, where do people work? Like, if it was miles and miles away, like, where does everybody work? And Toby said the rec center.
Somebody's got to keep the slide Crisco'd. Got to make sure that's the fastest slide this side of Richland County.
And to anybody who thinks alcohol is a memory eraser, we go down there and we played at this place we haven't played at in a year called Growler House, and it's in Fountain Inn, South Carolina. And I'll explain just how remote Fountain Inn is. So at the day job, one of the fellow managers, he said, "You got a gig tonight?" I was like, "Yeah, we're playing in South Carolina." And he's from Columbia. He lived there for about 20 years.
Boy, the big city types, huh?
Hell yeah. He said, Where in South Carolina y'all playing? And I said, Fountain Inn. He goes, where the fuck is that? Lived there 20 years. He had no idea where it was.
Right outside of 96.
It was somewhere.
There at least had been a town named 96. Maybe since then it's been renamed, but it was so
97?
named because it was 96 miles from Columbia.
I figured it was that because that was the population.
Also, yes.
So we get down to the place and we're setting up, and an older gentleman stumbles up and he goes, "Hey, y'all learn Drift Away yet?" Toby looked at me and goes, "Holy shit, he remembered that?" Toby remembered him from last time because he was just a really drunk ass nice old man who was like saying, "Hey man, y'all play Drift Away?" And almost like Matt McConaughey be like, "No, we don't. Be a lot cooler if you did." When we haven't played there in a year, and he stumbles up, "Y'all learn Drift Away? How the hell did you remember us?" He's like, "Man, I'm here all the time, my man. Here all the time." Got a pointed, solid white beard, shaved head, just an old drunk. He's probably in his 70s. I want to be like that guy when I'm older.
Well, Santa Claus is in an off season.
I thought he was beating all the kids up there in the North Pole to build the toys faster.
You said elves funny.
Those delicious cookies. I didn't eat those EL fudge cookies for like years because my mom and my sister would bite the heads off of them and then like show them to me and like scare me. We ate the head off, and I would like run and cry, and I wouldn't eat the damn things for years and years.
They must have had a lot of fun with goldfish and Teddy Grahams, gummy bears. any snack food with a head on it.
Did you see? It was a post about it says, the gummy world of animals is a world I don't want to visit because the worms are the size of bears.
Maybe they've just been watching Beetlejuice.
Just don't say it 2 more times.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
Where the fuck is Michael Keaton?
Why is he dressed like Batman?
No, there's a bunch of Batmans now. Oh, it's multiplicity now.
Hi, Steve. Why am I grading myself?
I never saw that movie either. It's a good one. Steve's nodding. You can't read that through here.
Can you hear my headphones rattle?
At one time, yeah, a little bit. We can always upgrade.
But I've had these headphones for like 15 or 20 years, man.
No way.
They're not young.
Wow. So at one time Steve had never seen Pulp Fiction. At the same time I had never seen Back to the Future. I have since remedied that.
I think I've seen Pulp Fiction, but not in its entirety. So now I'm getting confused with the movie Memento.
Gotcha. Do I need to listen to the Doug Loves Movies? Is it a podcast or is it?
That is a podcast that's more movie trivia and hilarity.
Okay. So it's just
pick your favorite comedians and listen to them on there. You'll be fine.
Gotcha. Much like I did with they did this bit on Your Mom's House, and Emily came down. She had went to bed already, and I stayed up for a little while. And she came down. She's like, "What in the hell are you laughing at?" And I just got the turbo giggles because they had a "Would you rather," and at first it wasn't as funny as you would think it would be. But then they kept talking about it, and the more they talked about it, it was one of those things. I just had to get. It was, would you rather? Okay, so anytime you listen, or anytime you watch TV, and this includes television, movies, anything, you only could watch Sister Act 2. That's all you could watch anytime you wanted to watch something on TV. Or no Netflix, no nothing, Sister Act 2. Or you had to always, anytime you wanted to listen to music, or anytime you heard music, you had to hear The Heat Is On from Glenn Frey.
I don't see a wrong answer between either of these.
Don't you think it would wear on you a little bit after hearing The Heat Is On after about the 50th time?
Did you ever watch the first Beverly Hills Cop while you still could?
I did not. In fact,
Then you're going to realize why The Heat Is On is amazing.
The only Eddie Murphy movies I've seen are The Nutty Professor.
M's influence is strong on you.
Well, that was before MJ was a thing.
Your celebrity name.
Uh,
Meanwhile, you're in the studio with Steelin McNix.
Stalen McNixley.
Oh, McNixley.
Oh. Holy. No, it was fun this weekend. We just her family's so big. See, her family is the antithesis of my family because her family, they all get together and they all like each other. I don't mean to say it like that, but they we all love each other, but I don't think we could all be I don't possess one picture of me, all of my siblings and my mom and dad together. That doesn't exist. I don't have that picture. But her family gets together for everything. It's not too late. To whip it.
Whip it good?
Da-da-da-da-da.
Da-da-da-da.
Singer of Devo.
Mark Mothersbaugh?
There you go.
Oh, thanks, Rugrats.
Yes. And for those of you who didn't know, he did all the music for Rugrats, the Nickelodeon baby cartoon. Somebody had a...
What if you mashed both of those up? Rugrats, it's good.
I miss all those Nicktoons. Doug, Real Monsters. I had a cat named Abelina.
Real Monsters was before, what was it, Pan's Labyrinth with the creature with the eyes in its hands?
Yeah.
And they were onto something with that.
Yes. We're trying to instruct Steve to talk into the mic a little bit closer because I do all the editing and I had to turn his parts up and my parts down because I'm a loud fuck. And we get so...
That's what he said.
And we get so comfortable talking that we just kind of drift further and further back away from the microphone.
Is that why the dude wanted you to play that song?
Maybe he kind of
He's
looked.
aware of my podcasting style, that I'm just gonna be over here talking into it.
Shout out to Sean Feely. He's the only one of our friends that I know listened to this damn thing front to back. Shout out to Feely.
I was already being requesting feedback as to the beer suggestion from last week. Like, what are you talking about? Like the banana chocolate beer. Like, Adam wanted to know about which do you combine to do that. Like, oh, I know we podcast for 2 hours. Hell, if I remember what we discussed, it appears we had a time, and some people even enjoyed the damn thing.
Well,
But yeah, upon take your pick of say a Young's double chocolate or Sam Adams orgasmic chocolate with a Wells banana bread to make the chocolate peanut butter beer.
Take two.
Chocolate banana beer.
Chocolate peanut or banana peanut butter would be good. Sorry, Sean
yes.
Preston. Sean Preston would not enjoy that. But that would be good. We could call that the Elvis.
I would like my banana chocolate peanut butter, but can it be a crunchy beer instead and freeze it, right?
Well, I was thinking just put peanuts in it.
Also, yes.
Hell, oh my goodness. So we get Vicky the Elephant peanut butter ale mixed with the Wells banana bread, and then just put peanuts in it, and we could just call it the Fat Elvis. I like this idea.
So where does the mayonnaise go?
Which one? Oh, here's a funny story about mayonnaise.
Patty.
And Patty, you're the mayonnaise for me. Whoa. You remember that episode that Doug made a music video?
That's a negative.
We went from Nicktoons to mayonnaise. Full circle, buddy.
That Doors album without Jim Morrison? By the way, don't listen to that.
By the way, don't listen to the Doors albums with Jim Morrison.
And then no fires were ever lit again.
What if I told you about slamming the Doors? Light My Fire would have been a lot better without the cheesy ass organ.
I was gonna say without that, Elvis's last noises. That was a shitty joke.
Better than his first noises. Other Side. I liked Other Side better than that.
They can all be Peace Frog.
That was a weird time. Like, I don't think I've been a music guy during some of those times. Well, Doors were 60s, right?
67 to ostensibly 72.
I say he was Club 27, wasn't he?
Which is really funny when my sister turned 27 and Dad mentioned, "Oh, so you're now going to survive the 27 Club, right?" Like, oh, he's aware of the 27 Club. Well, all this would have happened when he was a 20-something, and he's a musical fellow, so I don't know if the coin had been termed yet, but now that's very much a pop culture, especially seeing, musicians since passing away at that time.
I'd rather be a member of the 27 Club than the 700 Club.
Also, yes.
So all the 27s, we got you got Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, Hendrix was 27, Cobain, Amy Winehouse. Who else was 27? Lane was 34.
And I think Chris Farley was too.
Chris Farley was 27?
34.
Or 34?
34, 33. Belushi was somewhere around there.
Belushi was 27, I think. I think he was. You got the technology to look that up.
Yeah, this is going to be the part everybody really likes. Yeah, pause. So,
no, he can look it up while we're doing it. What about Shannon Hoon from Blind Melon? I think he was 27.
He's immortal. He's not 27. He's not an age.
We can't name any. Steve, you're Steve. Toby and I were thinking we should just have a 90s, 80s band and call it Blind Melon Camp. But we couldn't think of.
You're gonna be drawing quite the single mother crowd with that.
Who says we don't already? We played at the Broken Spoke here in town about a year and a half ago now. A lady named Shauna was working there. She moved back to Florida, but we took our first break of the night, and I went up there to get my beer, and I reached out with my left hand, and this attractive 40-something redheaded lady with a short skirt on touched my hand and goes, I was about to ask you, or I was about to get you a drink too, but then I saw that wedding band on your finger. I'm like, man, where was this 10 years ago? People automatically think, like, I tell Toby all the time at his job that it's like, man, I bet you just have women all over you all the time. He's like, you really, guys, we're local musicians. This is not that lifestyle. It has not. It's, I mean, you might get your occasional being hit on, but it's not like you're beating them, off of you with both hands. It's not like that. We wish it was. Well, Toby wishes it was. I can't do that. I can only look at the menu. I just can't order anything. Are you looking up Club 27?
The only other name that rings a bell on here is Brian Jones from the Rolling Stones. There are many, 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 many people on this list, but
not ringing
the
a bell.
rest of it, except for Sandy's husband's namesake, Robert Johnson, that is it for who's ringing a bell on this that we hadn't already mentioned.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of these people. Gastrointestinal hemorrhage. That's just your time to go. That's horrible.
Been a bad time on your hands.
Cecilia. Somebody named Cecilia died. A singer. She was a singer. She was 27.
I thought the Toyo Celica died in 2005.
Traffic collision, and then it has car in parentheses. Thank you for that. I don't know what a traffic collision was, so.
Unless he had a bad run-in with the band Traffic.
Maybe he had a run-in with the band Cars.
Okay, sick.
Keep that joke on me in case he case some emergency. Fat Pat was murdered. This person was an American rapper and member of the group called Screwed Up Click. Okay, so there's a lot of people that died at 27. We just don't know who the hell a lot of them are. Kim Jong-hyun, lead vocalist and lyricist for SHINee with 2 E's at the end.
Death by typographical error?
Kim Jong's hyphen HYUN. Evidently died December of last year. Suicide by carbon monoxide poisoning. Which kind of sounds like how Kim Jong-il would kill somebody.
That name's awfully close.
Maybe they're related. Weird. I did see a shirt that had Kim Jong-il in like a pimp outfit, and it said Kim Jong-illest. And I wanted that. So now we got deaths in rock and roll. So we're going to... What? No, that's not right. Hank Williams did not die of a heart attack at 29. Did he?
It was early for
really?
The first one, yeah, because he was around in the early 50s.
Yeah, died January 1st, 1953 of a heart attack at 29. Holy shit, snacks.
Damn, Pam.
He had to... What in the hell? Kansas Joe McCoy Harlem Hamfats.
That's the one person.
That's one person. That's the name it has listed. Kansas Joe McCoy Harlem Hamfats.
Death by asphyxiation by pronouncing all that jibber jabber.
Well, with the last name Hamfats, his cause of death is heart disease. So,
for something being so severe, could heart disease sound any more vague?
Yeah.
It has a cold.
There's a lot of parts of the heart. Like, which part had the disease? You can't... That's like saying you died of body disease.
This is really ventricle my fancy.
Aorta, do something about that joke. Once again, we do not apologize for puns because you're listening to it. You clicked play.
That's bloody awful.
Oh, that was the 50s, and here's the 60s. Let's go to our favorite decade for music. This is the 90s. Let's see, famous celebrity. We could probably name them all. But do you feel like Nirvana would have been as big and Sublime would have been as big if the singers hadn't died? Because Toby and I had this discussion the other day, and we kind of thought that if they wouldn't have died, then they would not have been as immortalized in rock and roll history.
I would say yes on Nirvana, no on Sublime, but that is my order of preference between the two bands too.
Yeah. You have
was
to.
there ever a Sublime MTV Unplugged? No. Any of the bands that made an MTV Unplugged are fantastic.
Kiss.
With some exception, bands that made an MTV Unplugged are fantastic.
I'm glad
Let
you-
me guess, or they unmade up as well?
Yeah, they were. I hate Kiss.
And Rose.
But if you want to hear or see a very funny video, just stop what you're doing right now and pull up "Lick It Up" from Kiss, because they have no makeup on. They're walking through the streets, and like Gene Simmons is making this horrible tough guy face, and they're singing lyrics "Lick it up." Oh yeah, it's only right now, and it's horrible, and it's comic gold. And every time we play it, Toby laughs his ass off. But no, we were having that discussion.
Oh no.
But you know what? Anybody who says, no, Kiss is one of the best rock and roll bands ever, I'll just say they made a disco album. Whatever you say after that is just null and void. I was not meant for loving you. So we're in the 90s now. Gene Phillips died at 74. I don't know who that is. Cornell Gunter from the Coasters was murdered. That's sad, but I don't know who he is. Andrew Wood, Mother Love Bone. Coaster. That's a horrible name for a band.
Well, the Drifters was already taken.
Sammy Davis Jr. died. 1990. Let's see. Okay, I don't know a lot of these people either. We did know Sammy Davis Jr. though. Rob Graves.
I love this work in the Cannibal Runs.
The Cannibal Runs?
Cannibal Runs.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
Cannonball Run.
I heard Cannibal Runs.
Cannibal
that was
Runs.
Jeffrey Dahmer's favorite activity.
Speed eating. Was he the early Kobayashi?
Man, you really don't want to know how the sausage is made. Oh, the podcast just took a very deep, dark...
You're a mean one, Jimmy Dean.
Oh, jeez. Let's see. Ray Stevens from the Village People died of an undisclosed illness. And if that says from
Was
1990...
that the same Ray Stevens that did all the silly songs in the 70s?
I don't know. It says from the Village People.
It would be two very different genres of music, assuming that his last name's spelled wrong.
Yeah, it's spelled with a PH.
Ooh, it's spelled correctly. All right, not the same guy then.
Oh, you held up... I thought you were holding up two fingers for two letters, not the V.
Not V for victory, sucker.
Not for Vendetta, because I hate that fucking movie. Everybody loves that movie, and I hate that movie.
Remember the 5th of November when Marty was going to go back in time to remember.
Is that how... That's how it goes.
They were there first.
Tom Fogerty died.
In relation to John?
He was in CCR. I don't know if they were related at all. I'd phone.
I'd go with yes. It's not like they were the Ramones or the Smiths here.
I mean, how many Fogertys? I've met. I only know of one other one, and she used to do the news on Fox locally. Morgan Fogerty. Anyway, he died of tuberculosis. Let's see.
Wait. And that was in the 90s, not the 1920s that he passed?
Yeah, died of tuberculosis in 1990, which was almost 30 years ago, which is fucking pressing. Steve Clark from Def Leppard. I didn't know there was a Steve Clark in Def Leppard. Of course, other than... Shit, I'm drawing a blank on all their names now anyway.
Phil and the One-Armed Bandit?
There you go. The old joke was what has 9 arms and sucks. Def Leppard. That was a friend of mine who
apparently didn't care for Def Leppard.
he didn't, but he was kind of strange anyway. I'm not going to disclose his name, but his dad, they would be on the way home from dinner, and he would have the mom stop the car, and he and his dad would have to walk back because it builds character. So they'd have to walk like 10 miles back home because it builds character. And they had to do all this stupid shit like woodworking, like stuff that it was really strange. He made his... I'm going to call him Jim. I don't want to give his name away because I don't know if he's going to listen to this or not. But Jim's dad would have him do all these really mundane, weird shit because he said it built character. Like they had to walk 10 miles and like home. But anyway, Jim likes tried to tell me Smashing Pumpkins was the best band ever, and I'm like, okay, you're entitled to that opinion, because we got into a discussion about 90s rock, and I was like, well, I'm a big Soundgarden fan this side of 1990. He's like, well, Billy Corgan's a better singer than Chris Cornell. I said, you slow your roll, buddy. Don't be bad mouthing him. I said, you can say, you could make an argument that the music and whatever's, I mean, you could make that everybody has subjective taste, but you can't sit there and tell me that Billy Corgan's a better singer as far as vocal talent singing than Chris Cornell was. Like, you just can't.
It just depends on how much Manic Dream Pixie you want your creepy bald guy sounding like.
So see, we're back to deaths. Doc Pomus. I don't know who that is, but rest in peace, Doc Pomus. I thought I would know a lot more people on here, but I guess you just underestimate the amount of people who die.
The entertainment industry is huge, and it does kill people. Here's proof.
Johnny Thunders from the New York Dolls.
That's a pretty fantastic band that you're not listening to because, hey, it's the 80s.
Yeah. Well, the cause of death, there's 2 causes of death listed. It says drug-related causes, suspicious. I mean, if it's a drug-related, it's not really that suspicious.
La Coquiana?
Unless he, like, choked on a bag of drugs. That would be suspicious. But if you're doing drugs, it's not really, if you die doing it, it's not suspicious.
That'd be quite a heroinic effort.
You took my only drug pun I could think of immediately.
Is he really dead? Was it a real thing?
Hey, your uncle died this year, July 8th of 91, Willie Nix. I don't know who this person is.
Oh, Willie.
Oh, Will. Oh, Goatley. Dootsy Williams from the Penguins.
That's a band that dressed in tuxedos all the time?
You know what? I think Thomas knew what we were going to talk about, and he just put names in here to fuck with us, and a lot of these people aren't real.
Dootsy?
Dootsy. Eric Carr from Kiss. There's not an Eric Carr in Kiss, unless he was like a touring guitarist. Oh, hell yeah. Oh my God, this is brilliant. In December 10th of 91, this man died from gunshot. It doesn't say where he got shot. It just says gunshot. And his name was Headman Shabalala Ladysmith Black Mambazo. Somebody's fucking with it. There's no way this person's a real person.
Well, that's the last time I go to Mozambique.
Headman Shabalala. Shaballala. Shabalala. Headman Shabalala Ladysmith Black Mambazo. But he died. Rest in peace, whoever
Gesundheit.
All of you are. Another New York Dolls. Let's see, Jerry Nolan. I heard they put on a really good show. It was just really...
I can imagine that'd be raucous.
Excess 80s, where it's like you didn't dress up like Poison like women. The New York Dolls actually dressed up like real women, and like they were punk, weren't they? Gotcha. Oh man, what great band names. Brian McLeod of the Chili Whack Headpins died of bone cancer in Vancouver, British Columbia.
That's the most unusual RHCP cover band name.
No, they all dressed up like Hellraiser and played Chili Peppers covers.
And then there was a time that the Chili Peppers decided to cover Hellraiser as well, but they just had the socks on their dongs with the pins in the socks. Ow.
Oh, that sounds like a really like horrible voodoo dick. Hell no, Lucrate milk from Paris. Okay, that explains a little bit.
Loot Crate milk? What are the nerds getting every month for $20 now? I hope it's condensed.
It's not pasteurized.
And I need a lot of it to get up past your eyes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Conway Twitty died in 1993.
Oh, darling.
There's no sense in going over all the things that took me under. By the way, Conway Twitty was a gigantic pimp. He was just smashing all the country music starlets in the 70s, 80s. Like,
I think you could reduce it to the first syllable.
that was all fair.
It clicked.
Oh, G.G. Allen died, and surprise, surprise,
In 93.
a drug overdose. If you don't know who G.G. Allen is, don't Google it. But in case you really are sadistic, G.G. Allen of the Scum Fucks and the Murder Junkies. Just, you know what? I'm not even going to go into it. If you really want to know about G.G. Allen, just Google it yourself. I don't want to bring Potty Rock into this. Potty Rock is not in this house tonight, and you'll understand if you Google it. Ugh. Okay, let's see.
I will not be LMFAO.
Ugh.
The only bands who successfully apologized for a first album.
Oh,
Party Rockin'.
they did. Yeah, they
And
did
then
apologize.
Sorry for Party Rockin'.
Frank Zappa.
Courtesy the Bugle for that one.
Frank Zappa died in '93. Doug Hopkins from the Gem Blossoms. I knew that after Hey Jealousy.
After they had one album out?
Yeah, he I think he got really bad. What does it say? It's a suicide. Yeah, that's what I thought. I think like right after Hey Jealousy came out, like he got real bad on. I think he was real bad on drugs. I think his wife had left him. He had a bunch of shit happen. He hit the suicide button. But that was in '93. But that was during the first album. What was it? Congratulations, I'm Sorry, or was that later?
The two that stick out are Congratulations, I'm Sorry, and Miserable New Experience.
Miserable New Experience, I think, was '93, but we'll check that out later. By the way, we love Gem. I love Gem Blossoms. You love Gem Blossoms?
I didn't initially, but I got the hang of it. And then way later, after I got an appreciation for IPAs, I got the hang of gin and tonic, because that's a drink that tastes like an IPA.
What about gin and juice?
I could roll with that street.
Do you have your mind on your money and your money on your mind?
Yeah, all negative 20 grand of it.
Well, let's see here. Papa John Creech from Jefferson, all the different Jeffersons, died of pneumonia.
Did he make a better pizza?
He probably did than that plastic-looking Republican fuck. Here's a guy you might know, Kurt Cobain, April 5th, 94.
Who?
I'm trying to word this correctly. Like I wasn't a big Nirvana fan when I first started listening to like Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, and stuff when I was in middle school and early high school.
What, you didn't love Nirvana when you were 8 years old when he died?
No. But I didn't.
I just gotten the hang of him because I was about 12 at the time I heard he died. I was like, oh shit.
I didn't appreciate it as much as I should have, I guess I would say, because I've been a hipster at heart my whole life. Like if everybody loves something, I want to say, well, no, it can't be that good, because if everybody loves something, it can't possibly be that good. That's my logic. But then you listen to, like, if you just listen to the sing, like if I never heard "Smells Like Teen Spirit" one more time, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't shed a tear over that. But Nirvana had a lot of good songs, but it's the same way with every band. I mean, the singles that are released aren't always. I mean, look at Warrant. Everybody knows Warrant is Cherry Pie, and Janie Lane hated that fucking song. Like he wrote that song in like 30 minutes because his record label's like, we need a poppy radio hit. So he like as a joke said, fine, I'll sit down and write you a poppy radio hit, and then it turned out to be their biggest song. And it's unfortunate because if you listen to the CD Uncle Tom's Cabin, there is some really good, the intricate songwriting on the really good stuff, but the only thing they're known for is Cherry Pie. So I mean, it goes back to, if you just listen to singles, you're going to miss out on a lot of good music if you don't really check out a band. If you like a band, you owe it to yourself to check the catalog out, because you're going to miss out on a lot of good stuff if you just listen to the stuff that's on the airplay.
So you're saying I should bring Cherry Pie on my desert island?
Only if you swing it on the front porch and then swing it on the lawn. But then you swing it when you're looking because there ain't nobody home. That video is horrible, but I watch it every time I see it.
It's no Here I Go Again.
Yeah. So let's see. Jimmy Miller, he was a producer for Blind Faith, Spooky Tooth, Motorhead, and Primal Scream, died. By the way, Spooky Tooth is an awesome name. You can kind of hear Steve messing with his toothers, as my dad would say, toothers. Wilbert Harrison died in Spencer.
For those 9/11 toothers.
Wilbert Harrison died in Spencer, which is kind of near here. I drove through Spencer on the way here. I blinked, so I missed it.
And you didn't get driven by?
For real. Spencer's so small that the exit for Spencer and East Spencer is on the same exit.
It was always funny to see town and then same town name with direction attached.
Yes. Like those directional universities. The Southeast North Carolina school for...
Or what about East Carolina, not a state. Western Carolina, not a state. Coastal Carolina, not a state. Fayetteville State, not a state.
Vietnam.
Hi, Sean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fred Smith from the MC5 died. Do you remember MC5's first song? Was it their first single? Kick Out the Jams? I think it was the 60s.
I don't know when it was. I just know that was them.
It was the 60s because it had Kick Out the Jams, motherfucker. And that was when they didn't edit, you didn't have it edited. I couldn't imagine what that would be like back in the 60s. All right, more names.
And nobody was talking like that until at least 73 when George Carlin did it.
True. And then he got thrown in jail for a night after that 7 dirty words you can't say on television. I saw George Carlin before.
Lenny Bruce all over again.
He's not afraid. No, my sister and I saw George Carlin. Here's how cool my parents are. I saw Carlin for my 16th birthday in 2002. And because my sister, Holly, was 20 at the time, she was my guardian because she was over 18, so I could get into the show. So Holly, me, and a guy named Joe Holloman went to the what was it? It was Ovens. He was at Ovens Auditorium, and I got to see George Carlin before he passed away. He didn't pass away until 10 years later, but at least I got to see him in concert before 6 years later.
Oh
wait. Shit, he's been dead 10 years.
10 years in June.
My dad suspiciously looks like George Carlin too. He's not nearly as vulgar, but spitting image. So let's see here.
You shouldn't spit, that's rude.
That was a great show, though. I bet people looked at me like, what in the hell is this guy doing here? He's a kid. Of course, after this Tuesday, that will have been half of my life ago because your old man here, AJ, will be 32 on Tuesday.
No more Baskin Robbins for you.
I don't want a Baskin Robbins. That's Tony Segundo from the Moody Blues. I'm looking for names that you and I would really know. No, or any more funny names of things I don't think are real that I'll have to look up later. Oh, Selena. Selena died. Remember the Latina? Yeah, I didn't know she died in 1995 by her...
It was that long ago?
95, yeah.
Coming up next on Lex's Google stuff.
The podcast has taken a horrible turn for morose, macabre stuff here.
Or still an episode behind the first Family Guy when Death Takes a Holiday or whatever the title was.
Death Has a Shadow was number 1, and then I Never Met the Dead Man was number 2. I think the first 4 or 5.
The first season was all dead on.
99 too, because it was right after the Super Bowl in 99 that it came on, and they got canceled twice, and now they're back again. Jerry Garcia, August 9th, 1995. Josh Daniel, if you're listening to this, we'll appreciate the shout out to Grateful Dead. He's a Deadhead. You haven't met this guy.
If ever have a Cadillac, it's totally going to wear a Deadhead sticker, as well as a Black Flag sticker. Thanks, Atari.
I saw that post about you wanting the CTSV wagon and have that and a Black Flag. Both. Well, have a Rollins band sticker too. By the way, I listened to Rollins' podcast on Joe Rogan, and Henry Rollins is nuts.
Yep.
But he's a good kind of nut. Like, he only sleeps 4 hours a day, and he's always traveling, and it was very interesting podcast. Steve's got me into podcasts now, so much so that we started one.
Whoops.
Sterling Morrison from the Velvet Underground, and I really don't get Lou Reed. Are you a Lou Reed fan?
I like the Dandy Warhols doing the same thing better, but I do appreciate them doing a template off of which to base it.
I just couldn't get into it. It like Perfect Day. If I hear the song Perfect Day one more time, I'm gonna blow my brains out. I hate that song. You don't know?
I don't know the Velvets that well though.
This was just his solo. I think it was just solo. This Billy Williamson, Bill Haley and his Comets.
Was that the guy from Star Wars? Lando? I thought he was going to be back in the new movie.
Ella Fitzgerald died in 96. She died from diabetes.
Oh, Wilford.
Chaz Chandler from The Animals.
I know the Animals.
Is that another punk band?
No, that was from the 60s. The House of Rising Sun.
Oh, gotcha. Tupac, September 13th, 1996.
What if he's not really dead?
That is true. That man's put out more albums dead than he ever did alive. Don't tell me he's not. Nobody puts out that much music and doesn't release it unless you're Prince. Let's see. Alexander Young from AC/DC. There wasn't another. It says Alexander Young, Marcus Hook Roll Band, and AC/DC. He might have just been a touring musician.
I gotta say, any kin to Malcolm who just died from them?
He had to. A lot of these people are producers, and they might have been a touring musician. There's Biggie, Notorious B.I.G., Christopher Wallace, March 9th, 97. Jeff Buckley.
That was a interesting death surrounding that one. He
Drowning.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
basically went for a swim one night and was never saw again.
Not alive.
Touché.
John Denver. Experimental plane crash is what it says. It doesn't say accidental, or it says experiment. So it says experimental plane accident. So was the plane experimental? Was the accident experimental? Or was the plane accident experimental?
We're gonna explore different ways to crash a plane.
That sounds very 40s Japanese of you. I really think so.
Do you rate that joke as 0?
Jimmy Witherspoon. I don't know who that is. Nick Venet, producer for the Beach Boys. You said Charles Manson wrong. Charles Manson died, didn't he?
Recently, yes.
That's right. Yeah, because I remember somebody saying, I can't believe he's gone, rest in peace, and it was a picture of Marilyn Manson. And it's the internet, so it's fantastically hilarious. Falco. Aw. Falco died Falco died in the Dominican Republic in a car accident.
Then who's going to get rocked by Amadeus?
I guess he did. I bet you there's not one person named Amadeus in the Dominican Republic. That's a weird. Falco was from Germany?
Yeah.
So a German guy got killed in a car accident in the Dominican Republic when he was 40 years old.
Oh, he got all that money from the 80s and go on vacation. Go retire there.
Cozy Powell from the Jeff Beck Group and Whitesnake. Car accident. Linda McCartney.
So there he went again.
Linda was just Paul's wife. Linda didn't play anything, did she? I didn't think so.
I think it's just related and producers and such, and that was a pretty significant name.
Gotcha. Let's see here. Benjamin Smoke. Don't know who that is.
Well, I guess CBS won't be selling his albums.
Dusty Springfield from the Springfields. Don't know who that is.
I was about to get that confused with Smithfields. Man, I love their barbecue.
You like Smithfield's barbecue?
You know, if you need quick service in the middle of nowhere.
Nah. Anyway, moving on. We can do food.
Barbecue.
We can do food later, because if we start talking about food, I'm going to take a break and eat some food. What in the hell is that?
It's bad enough I wanted chicken wings, and that's on Food Network earlier.
Oh, hell yeah.
Thanker Bar.
Augustus Pablo died in Jamaica of English is speak becoming hardness.
You didn't drink enough.
Myasthenia gravis is what he died of. I don't know what that is.
Pardon?
Myasthenia gravis.
The Gravis, one of those 1990s game pads.
I know my dad used to tell me when I was messing around, he was like, stop playing Gravis. Chuck Higgins, I don't know who that is. I think we're almost out of the 90s anyway. So I just did famous musician deaths. Curtis Mayfield,
Oh, shit.
99, December 26th, diabetes.
And my first trip to Kaylin's place, we'll listen to Curtis Mayfield on 8-track.
Oh, hell yeah. Not on the way, at destination. I know that vibe isn't that old because my 68 Dodge D100 had an 8-track that worked.
No, current car had the aftermarket stereo that I gave you that you still haven't put in anything, so I could put the truck stereo in it. That's a touchscreen Pioneer piece of junk.
Gotcha. I think we got to talking about it was musician because it was 20. It was Club 27. That was what it was. But then you got
And then became Club Dead.
yeah. Although knowing the clubs, it would be D capital E lowercase d because clubs do stupid shit like that. You remember being? Did you ever go to clubs when you were 18 to 22?
I'll give you one guess.
I already know the answer to that, but I went a couple of times, and it is just my idea of hell now. I got drugged to that, and it's a miserable time. Because I go to meet girls to like not hook up with. I go meet girls like to hang out, like go out and do stuff with, and go on a date. And you don't go to clubs to meet girls to do that. Girls go out with their girlfriends to go dancing and have fun. They don't go to meet nice guys. That's not how that works. That's not how any of that works.
My hair never took the gel very well, so I figured that was, a good warning. I shouldn't do this.
Well, with the gel I use, I could get it spiked up to the ceiling with what little hair I have left, which I'm jealous of your hairline. Big time. So Steve and I had to re-beer. We are now drinking a
2015 vintage Death by Hops from Old Hickory.
And if you haven't been to Old Hickory, it's in Hickory. Surprise.
Not Lenore. Okay.
Yeah. Really good, though. Thomas used to live in Hickory. Bought a house in Charlotte. Congratulations. Toby and I went up to see him one day, and we go up to Old Hickory. We were like, you guys do flights? And they were like, yeah, we do flights. And I was like, all right, well, what are the denominations? And it said, you can do 4, you can do 6, or you can do 10. Well, I just found my answer. Oh, yeah. And they brought it out on what can only be described as the artist, when he's painting.
A palette.
He brought a pallet of beer.
Instead of something that you get at Costco, a pallet of stuff, so it's even bigger.
Yes. And it was 10, and it was only $12 for a flight of 10, and they were generous pours too.
So did you enjoy the beers? Would you say they were palatable?
They were palatable. That was a groovy place. Granite Falls, which you haven't been to. You haven't been to either one, have you?
No, I've been through the town of Granite Falls, since that's north of Hickory, if I recall correctly.
Granite Falls is a good place, and Vicky the Elephant's my jam. I love that peanut butter beer. But they have a giant beanbag chair there you can sit in. Actually, everybody in Charlotte could sit in it because it's so damn big. But it's a gigantic catcher's mitt beanbag chair, and it's super cool.
Run, do not walk from the giant beanbag chair.
That was Tears for Fears' failed album, Songs from the Big Beanbag Chair.
Not Songs from the Blob.
Bill Maher called 45 Blob the Builder. But we're keeping it lighthearted.
If there's any heart at all.
Yeah, we just went through a list of celebrity or musician deaths. So
meanwhile, we're drinking Death by Hops.
Yeah, and we talked about death from Family Guy.
What a time to be alive.
For now. Chris Cornell's death hit me pretty hard. For those of you who know, I'm a big fan of his. That just kind of shows you what medication does to you. As I said, he was fine one minute, then he had taken some prescription cocktails of, I think it was painkillers and mood thing, but it didn't sit right. I just kind of over-prescribing things to people.
Even stranger was that you were out of town at the time, and I was cat-sitting for you. So I get this news while sitting on your couch watching your TV. You're the biggest Soundgarden fan I know. Like, good news, the cats are okay.
Yep, I was in St. Augustine, Florida, which is the oldest city in the U.S. For those of you keeping score. That death didn't really hit me until I got home. We had a show as soon as I got home from Florida, and we started playing some tunes. It kind of hit me a little bit. Why, I'm not going to lie. Because from all accounts, the dude was a super cool guy. Never got to meet him. Got to see him in concert, though, and I got to say, that was 3 of the best concerts I've ever been to, and that's not me just being a fanboy. Because Toby and I saw Audioslave in Atlanta with 30 Seconds to Mars, which I could take or leave, and then Seether. It was a weird show. It was 30 Seconds to Mars, Seether, and Audioslave. Great show, though. I'm not a big 30 Seconds to Mars fan, but they actually did put on a good show. Seether put on a great show. Audioslave killed it. Closed the whole show with Killing in the Name Of, which is just fantastic. And then I saw Chris solo at Ovens Auditorium again. That's where all the cool shit happens, evidently. But he played all the solo Temple of the Dog stuff, and then the Audioslave stuff, Soundgarden stuff. He played it all. He played for 3 hours and didn't take one break.
For those playing at home, you can't see my eyes about to pop out of my head.
About Ovens Auditorium?
Yeah. Anything Temple of the Dog?
He played Call Me a Dog, Say Hello to Heaven, which is my top 5 song for me. Which we learned it, and we're going to probably play it sometime in the near future. But if I can get through it without crying like a little baby. Don't mind us, Steve's dying a little bit.
Try not to belch on Mike.
That's okay. We can edit that. I mean, I can edit that.
Trying to minimize how much you gotta edit here, though.
Oh, trust me, I'm gonna have to edit a lot anyway. It's just that's how it happens. That's how it happens. But then we saw Soundgarden and Nine Inch Nails.
I really like the circa 1994 Shut Up and Play the Hits tour from 2014.
Yeah, that was a great show.
That was awesome on both accounts. Like, you're not that big of a nailhead. That was my only time seeing Soundgarden, my 3rd time seeing Nine Inch Nails.
Did it stack up as the other times you saw Nine Inch Nails?
All of which at Verizon or whoever they are, amphitheater over near the UNCC, and that was their best show.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't hurt. That was also the time I actually had seats instead of lawn, too.
True, yeah. After going to numerous concerts, I'll ask your opinion on this soon, but I prefer indoor venues. You do too?
There's only so much getting rained on that you want to withstand. I think the last of which was seeing Van Halen 2 years ago.
Not Van Hagar?
This had DLFR.
Huh. Is that a high definition camera?
No, this is a Samsung Galaxy 2. Meanwhile, I have no idea where the hell that camera is. Shit.
Steve and I go back and I agree with him. Like, Roth is the better showman, but Sammy Hagar is the better singer by far. Especially if you listen to the isolated vocal tracks of David Lee Roth on YouTube, it's horrible. It's really horrible. But the indoor venues are they're more intimate. Like, we saw, we went and saw Chevelle with 10 years in Chevelle, the 10 years open for him at the one downtown. What is it? Near VBGB.
The outdoor venue or the Fillmore?
Fillmore, there you go. That's the first time
nice.
Fillmore was great. It's just
your music venue doesn't have chandeliers?
I'm gonna swing from the chandelier. I hated that song the first time I heard it, and then I kept listening to it. From Sia, I'm gonna swing from the chandelier. We'll listen to it later. By the way, I hated it. But then I'm listening to it on the shitty speakers at work, so I didn't really know what I was listening to. And then I watched the video and listened to it. I was like, I like the shit out of this song. Like, she's got some good stuff. We can go into that later. We're on grunge
rock.
We're on grunge rock now. Well, actually, she's not even rock. It's weird. All right, we'll explain that later. But
music at work, unless I'm at the Palm and I'm listening to jazz over the sounds of a fountain. Oh, damn it! I gotta pee.
Well, we could pause for that too. We got the technology for it. Damn it! What was I going to say? You
something about "See You Later" and some music that you thought you hated and now you don't.
Yeah. at work, I had to download SoundHound because at work I hear so many things that I hate that I had to download it because I want to know
What is
it.
this so I know what I hate?
I want to know what I'm hating because I can't really hate it if I don't know what it is. Like I have to at least, you know what I mean? Like
Been there, done that.
So a lot of things I found out I just really hate. That song "Lovely Day," lovely day, lovely day, lovely day. I hate that fucking song. I thought it was Curtis Mayfield, but I could be wrong. I don't like repetition.
I thought it was a Loving Happiness song.
I don't like repetition. If I hear it, to me, it's lazy songwriting. Like you hear the same phrase over and over. That to me, that's lazy songwriting. I'm not the world's best songwriter, but I don't repeat the same lines 100 times in one song.
So, no 1984 KMFDM for you, the unrestrained use of excessive force over and over and over and over. Notable only for the best song title ever.
Which was?
The Mating Sounds of Helicopters. UAIOE for you and me.
I need to listen to this now. Sum 41 had an instrumental intro to one of their CDs, and it was called "Grab the Devil by the Horns and Fuck Him Up the Ass," and that was a great punk rock. In Soviet Russia, devil fucks you. We're Putin on the Ritz right now.
That's where we were this morning, right?
It's a nice hotel. A very nice hotel. I felt guilty for walking in on the carpet. It was so clean. It was a really nice hotel. I got called sir every time by every person, no matter age. I'm not a sir. I don't feel like a sir. Of course, I don't feel like a ma'am either. I'm not going gender identity with you. But I don't.
Hey, you.
No,
so what is going to be the new realm of gender neutral royalty?
Oh.
Everyone's a jester.
Hell yeah. He died too. Chester Bennington. Actually, I do love Linkin Park too.
I really enjoyed them, and then I turned 20. And then it's just, I'm too old to listen to this. And then upon listening to them after he died, like, this is fun to listen to this again. It had been long enough, but I played so much of them, and then their new stuff I just didn't enjoy that I needed a break. And apparently 15 odd years was the break I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And then I gave it an afternoon, and I never listened to them again.
Toby never liked Linkin Park. Like there are Toby and I share a lot of love, and you and me, you and I do the same too. We share a love for a lot of bands, and then there's other bands that we just completely differ on. And we talked about last episode about you're a Mike Patton fan, and I can't get into it, but no, that teen like Hybrid Theory, like I don't like, if you're in a bad mood, like listening to Hybrid Theory will just, it'll either put you in a worse mood and want to beat people up, or you'll put you on a bad. It's funny how listening to aggressive music like that, if you're in a bad mood, can actually make you feel better.
Outsourced rage.
Yes.
I had no idea they had such thoughts on the Prius.
I think the Insight did the Prius better before the Prius did it. But I'm a Honda guy, not a Toyota guy.
I was gonna say any hybrid that can be had with a stick shift's a better one anyway.
That's true. What about the General Motors EV1?
That was a very interesting experiment that really made a better Saturn.
Yeah, and we talked about Saturns.
Intergalactic planetary. Oh shit! What happened?
I don't really.
Are my headphones acting up? What's going on here?
I don't feel like Beastie Boys are hip hop though.
They are a little bit of everything. They started out as a punk outfit, actually.
Yeah, but in the '80s, and even some folks now would have classified Beasties as hip hop, and like Intergalactic was more of a hip hop song, but like No Sleep Till Brooklyn and
that was more punky.
That was more punk. Fight for Your Right to Party was punk. Paul Revere was hip hop, But in
And
general,
that's why I'm not as crazy about the song as everybody else is.
I like Paul. I like Paul Revere. But
just not last weekend, right?
but I like the Beasties. But see, like, I don't qualify when people say metal. Like, I hate when people do the metal hands at shows that aren't metal. Like, when we go to Chevelle.
Fuck yeah, Beyonce!
We went to Chevelle and everybody like had devil horn metal. Like, I love Chevelle. Chevelle's one of my top 5 favorite bands. Chevelle's not metal.
I love metal. He says doing the gesture back and forth.
The Jerry Cantrell, right-handed metal, left-handed metal, too much metal for one hand. But see, Alice in Chains to me they were the most metal of the 90s bands to me, because they had that doom, especially Three-Legged Dog.
The heaviest of the grunge bands, yes.
All right, so Toby and I did this one night, and I think you could, I don't know if we told you about this or not, but we were trying to classify. We can learn one right now for you.
A little second stick for you.
Plah. We were classifying the 90s grunge groups to what their corresponding 70s and classic rock groups were. So we were thinking Soundgarden was Led Zeppelin, because it was heavy and hard, but they got kind of experimental.
The heavy and the light all at the same time.
Yes,
was sort of one of the natures of the band name.
Yes, Alice in Chains was Sabbath, because it was very strictly heavy. I mean, you had Jar of Flies and Sap that was softer.
So that'd be more the Dio Sabbath.
Probably. I listened to the entire catalog on the way to and from Raleigh the last couple of days of Alice in Chains, and you can hate William Duvall all you want, but Black Gives Way to Blue is their 3rd best album. It's a fantastic album, and all you Lane loving nut swingers that are listening to this, I love Lane Staley too, but Jerry Cantrell wrote 95% of everything anyway. So,
dude, his solo works.
I like the solo stuff too. Degradation Trip. You know, Robert Trujillo from Metallica, he played bass on the road for Jerry Cantrell's band. Steve is beard stroking and hitting the pop filter, but that's okay.
Pop up filter. Woo!
Somebody's like, you know what? You guys should. One of my friends at work said you should set up a video feed, and I'm like, look, we're trying to get people to listen to it at first. I don't think anybody wants to watch Steve and I talk. You might want to listen to it, but you don't. I assure you don't want to watch us talk. Not quite yet. Steve said he doesn't really want to be a YouTube personality, but if it could pay better than what he's making now, I bet you he would consider it.
Wait, does that mean I have to pull 40 hours a week to make that 15 an hour minus tax, tag, title, and insurance?
Yeah, well, look at
in the meantime, at least the one perk of being there is getting to listen to podcasts while getting all the paper cuts.
True, but you know, there are varying levels of YouTube stardom. Nobody even we don't even have to we could just make shit we want to make. And
apparently, finding dead bodies in Japan is not the preferred method.
Whoever
that guy is.
You know what? Until I saw that, I never even heard of the guy. Are we out of touch, or well? Hold on. Are we out of touch?
Or are we out of time?
Either that. Do we just have good taste in things, or does the world just like stupid shit?
It's probably also a generational gap too. That apparently whatever he done prior to this might have been really popular with 12-year-olds. It's been a long time since I've been a 12-year-old. Maybe for you too.
Tuesday it'll be 2 decades since I've been a 2-year-old, 12-year-old, whatever, 12-year-old.
So everybody wish Applejacks a happy 2nd and 30th.
I don't feel any different. I don't look any different. I have a little less hair, and I have more tattoos, but I look just like my senior picture. You do.
I'm a good bit much more bearded than then.
Me too,
But
yeah.
Other than that, yeah.
I
It's still
have
unmistakably me, but nobody's seen me without at least a goatee since '04.
it has been, yeah. I haven't seen my chin since 2002. Emily's never seen
That's
me without
silly. I see yours right now.
that picture of you though, where there's 4 of you and you're doing the "this is Sparta" face.
Yes.
That's like the best picture. That's the best one.
Dude, that shit's from '07.
Fuck, that was 11 years ago. So, Steve, for those of you who don't know, Steve and my wife were roommates with,
Another friend of ours.
Another friend.
Three's Company, this was not.
yes, and I didn't even know she existed, and nobody bothered playing matchmaker with us, but Emily in all her glory didn't really come off as wanting to meet any new guys, old guys, any kind of guys anyway. People. So I don't know what it was about me that decided to pull little Miss Muffet out of the turtle shell and come out and play, but hey, you know what? Things work out sometimes. And Steve's gonna write a book on his dating shenanigans. This
What was going to be? The previous title had been Never Been Facebook Official.
Are you gonna make it an acronym, or is that going to be the title?
That at least until 2013, that was still going to be the active title. Since then, that's long since not a thing.
Never been Twitter official though.
You're not missing much, especially not in the last year plus, or especially not since the death of At Midnight.
Yeah,
That was a fun time.
that was a fun time. I do add a It was what was their what was the thing they did where it was the challenge? Add a word or add.
Ruin a movie.
Yeah, ruin a movie, and my favorite was
Like-
Batman and Robin Thicke.
Sounds a bit blurry.
The unedited version of that video is actually pretty cool if you mute it, much like a lot of modern
Yeah.
modern music. We got on a musical tangent with it was Toby and I were talking. This is what I meant to bring up to you. It's funny how things change because like Toby used to hate Linkin Park and he still does, but he used to also hate Matchbox 20. And now Toby actually likes Matchbox 20 a lot because I was letting him listen to a couple of things and see Toby.
Can you help him? Apparently, he's bent.
I could go a million different ways with this, but I know their catalog a little better. But Toby likes intricate music and like he likes this is going to sound really stupid, but he likes a very musical song. He likes the parts, the different parts of things to be very intricate musical. He likes like technical stuff like Dream Theater and ELO, stuff like that. So I was explaining to him, I was like, Matchbox 20 stuff's a lot more intricate than you would think. And we would listen, and I let him listen to some stuff, and he'd listen to it on his own too. And he was say it's a lot more intricate. I mean, Rob Thomas basically plays piano or just sings. The rest of the band plays all the instruments, so they're allowed the freedom. Now, I for those of you who don't know, I play guitar and sing, so there are certain songs that we don't play. They're hard to sing and play at the same time. I mean, I got a lot under my belt, but there's still some I struggle with. But there's certain band like you go back and you'll hate or not hate a band, but you like I don't really care for it, and you'll go back and listen to it later, and you're like, oh, I didn't know it was this good. Do you have any bands that come off the top of your head that
I bet you I still don't like Matchbox 20. I liked Hot Wheels 20 better.
What about Power Wheels?
Never had one. Maybe I would have flipped one if I had one. I was for the Bobcat.
Your dad would like that.
I think he still wants a cat.
Well,
Then it would be a Bobcat.
mine are not for sale. I don't think Kaylin's is for sale either. But are there any bands that you initially just didn't like?
Gin Blossoms.
Can you think? Yeah, we covered. Yeah, we covered
but
that.
that was like, well, yeah, since that was at the top of my head.
Yeah.
The Offspring. The first single of theirs, Come Out and Play, that I heard. Like, really didn't care for the voiceover in the process. Yeah, keep them separated. What the hell is this nonsense?
Was that their first single?
That at least was the first one I heard.
Oh.
It wasn't until Gotta Get Away came out that I love them now. And they're still one of my favorites. Like, many a band, hell if I know what their newer catalog is, but their first 4 odd albums, where this is Ramones, really enjoyed those. Definitely bought Americana on release day. Since then, that was early driver's license and early income days to be able to do such a thing. And of course, I had to be partial to Ixnay because of name.
I can't think of... Nirvana was one I didn't care for because Smells Like Teen Spirit got played more than any song in the history of songs. But Nirvana was one that at first listen I couldn't get into, and then I got into it.
You never
later.
listened to Incessicide, did you? Don't.
Oh. Horribrew. Like, is it like garage rock bad or just...
That might have been the most experimental of their albums. Bleach is early, but it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Nevermind was the first one that launched them into the stratosphere. In Utero had the tough task of following Nevermind.
Yeah.
And Unplugged in New York, well, I really like the Unplugged series. Couldn't stand MTV now, but this is back when MTV still did music. And this is when they did music very well.
For our millennial friends out there, yes, MTV actually did play music and music videos.
Get off my lawn. And Incessicide fell somewhere in the time frame of In Utero. It's been plenty of time, but I'm betting I'm still really not going to like that one. And then I've found it just confusing when they released From the Muddy Banks of the Wishkah, which was a bunch of their live stuff. Like, well, if they're playing in Belgium, how can they still rock in English? Because I was a dumb 14-year-old.
Because a lot of folks don't realize English is very well known around the world. You can, it isn't like you can go somewhere and get dropped off and left there and not get around. Like, somebody will know English. It's not like knowing Czech and getting dropped off in Africa. Like, you're probably fucked. But if you know you're pretty much going to be okay. Somebody somewhere is going to know enough to get you to where you need to be. As far as Nirvana goes, the Unplugged album is probably my favorite one. And what's funny about that is half the songs aren't even Nirvana songs.
Somebody's got to cover Bowie.
That's true. That's what every time we play Man Who Sold the World and we get done, it's like, a little Bowie for you, or Nirvana, depending on how old you are. Yeah, and then you have, of course, those teeny bopper jerks. And who's Bowie?
Like, who knows? Not me. I'm face to face with the man who sold this podcast.
Who are we brought to? Who's our sponsor today, Steve?
Besides the earlier one, where Circus is
the circus is state of the art.
Barnum and Bailey, the greatest show on earth.
I love their animal crackers. By the way, this is a funny work story. I know this is a cars, bars, and guitars, but you're gonna have to bear with us.
There's a show, and you'll suffer through it. You want to?
Yeah, exactly. So at work, I work in retail, and we were at this was in 2004. It was right around the time I had left that store and went off to college. It was like I was 18. 18, 2004. So, yeah, Jesus, that was a long time ago. Anyway,
that's good. You're good at second misdemeanor.
Thanks, Elliot. So we had a total store reset, and they were moving the greeting card section to the other side of the store. So they had to pull that shelf out. Well, that shelf backed up to the snack cracker aisle. And so there was a box of animal crackers that had fallen back there. And it was a white box with red letters that just said animal crackers on it. It was so old. This was 2004, and we found it, and I was like, "What? Where's the date on it?" And we picked the box up, and the date said 1994. It was a 10-year-old box of animal crackers. And we opened the bag, and it was
Don't put them in your soup.
I almost convinced one of the baggers to take a bite for $20, but then he backed out like a pussy. But they were still very. If you ever want to be scared about, and we eat processed food all the time, and I don't give a fuck. I'm still going to. But if you ever want to really be scared about processed food, we opened that bag of animal crackers, and it still looked just like animal crackers.
So you're saying Clark Griswold's line of work is really doing quite well.
I regret not eating that. I regret not at least trying it, because another funny out-of-date story is Thomas's mother is from Washington State, and they had a Rainier Light 6-pack that was in their refrigerator probably since the George Bush the First era. Oh yeah,
At least, what was it? The brewery initially had been snuffed in '94, and then they got picked back up by Schlitz or Pabst. So the name's back, but the initial creation of this beer is no more. But at least the name's back. But this was original Rainier beer that was beyond near beer, and continue the story.
That it was. So she's like, well, we found this 6-pack, and we don't know how old it is. She said, I think when we moved in the house in 91, I think we brought it with us, and we just stuck it in the fridge outside, because they had 2 fridges. Rich. And
stay tuned for my future dwelling.
So we took the beer. Thomas and I took the beer, and I think Toby was there. I think you were there too, weren't you? We cracked open a over 20-year-old beer at that point. And you know what?
It was good.
It didn't suck. It was.
And much to our listeners' chagrin, we survived.
We did. We really did. And then yet another funny old alcohol story. I had moved out of my parents' house in 2004, and my dad gave me this bottle of Don Pedro Mexican brandy where the label was in Spanish. Everything was in Spanish on it. He's like, "Here you go." Well, I'm not going to drink this. I'm like, I didn't know we had this. How old is this? He said, I don't know. He said, I think one of his old employees had moved back to Mexico. He retired as an older guy. He was a legal citizen, but he retired. He's like, here, have this bottle of brandy that we haven't opened. And when a buddy of ours graduated college in 2005, we cracked it open, and that's the only shot of any kind of liquor I've ever had that as soon as you swallowed that liquor, all of your skin got warm. It was so good. I mean, it was strong. I mean, I had to shave my ass again after taking a shot of it. It was strong. It was strong with a K, but it was delicious. And boy, we all just kept passing the bottle around and doing shots of it. This was back in, the time where we were young enough to get away with doing shots. That was really good. It was Don Pedro brandy from Mexico.
Dude, we're old enough to get away with doing shots now.
Yeah, but
legally, yes. Physically, no.
Ugh, there you go. That should be our slogan. If this podcast takes off, that should be our T-shirt. We should get that on. I broke Steve. Steve, say the slogan again.
Legally, yes. Physically, no. Legally, yes. Physically, no. Legally, yes. Physically, no.
We're mad as hell. We're not going to take it anymore.
We're networking now.
Back to music. I can't, other than Nirvana, I can't think of another band that I hated, or not hated, but I was like indifferent to, and then now I can't get enough of it. I can't think of any. Because we have broad tastes in music, but as far as rock goes, we're pretty similar. You're not a big Chevelle or Seether or Breaking Benjamin.
I'm not that aware of more modern bands, and the modern bands I am keen to sound like they came out of the 70s.
Well, do you remember Wolfmother?
Oh yeah, because they were going after Led Zeppelin's jugular.
Yeah, and it was when you learn about audio engineering and you learn about loudness and how things are mixed. Listening to that song, knowing what I know now, the song "Woman" is painful to listen to. I'll show you the waveform on that. If you don't know what the loudness wars is, everybody Google that, because music now is getting louder. There's no dynamic range. It's like a wall of sound. So I'll describe it to Steve like I'm going to describe it to you
What was
guys.
this about the Grateful Dead?
Like listening, like modern music is thrown at your ears instead of music being released and you hearing it. Dun, dun, dun. This is the time I wish we had video feed. But no, it's so loud, like loud not in volume, in average loudness. It's something called RMS, which if you're really a geek stands for root mean square. It's the average loudness of the track, which means it has no dynamic range.
Not an English sub.
It's definitely worth Googling. It's modern music is just skyrocket limited to it's hard limited. There's no dynamic range, and that's why if you listen to certain albums for a long period of time with earbuds in, it hurts your ear. You get a headache because there's no dynamic range. I will explain this to you later if you really care. If you don't, we'll move on to the next topic. It's an interesting topic if you're an audio geek or just a regular geek. Steve has a Pontiac shirt on.
Thanks, eBay.
How much was that?
10-ish. I don't know,
That's what Sean Connery likes to play in his spare time.
Yeah, it's been 3 or 4 years since I picked this up when I got said not quite a Pontiac.
When you got the Vib.
And I think this is illustrating the town of Pontiac in Illinois. Because apparently the town of Pontiac in South Carolina doesn't do any promotion.
There used to be a restaurant in Albemarle called Pontiac Point. Because it used to be a Pontiac dealership, and then it closed down, then they opened up a restaurant called Pontiac Point.
How sneaky of them.
You know what? I think you should open up a concourse event for only your generation of Pontiac Vibe, and you should be the head Vibe Raider. Steve is golf clapping. You can real clap into that thing. I can edit that. Look at that.
Yes. I broke the waveform.
That's okay. Everything is editable. Everything's digital. Everything's editable and edible. Did you see Chris Anthony's? I laughed my ass off at his status update this morning.
He's got the best face base.
This morning, well, Emily said she unfollowed. She goes, I can't take it. It's so much at one time. It said every machine can be a smoke machine if you use it incorrectly.
Did you see my 2 cents on that one?
I didn't read it.
My favorite was an LCD monitor at work while testing a small army of old monitors. One of which came with a prize. It starts sparking and smoking, and usually, you turn it on, it doesn't work. Oh no, this one didn't work, but it came with a prize. It's just everything short of I put this thing in the microwave.
My dad put a thing up. Our toaster went tits up, and he's like, "What do you want for breakfast?" I'm like, I guess I'll just have some Pop-Tarts. He threw the Pop-Tarts in the microwave and didn't unwrap them. And July 4th ensued after that. It was great. I love my dad.
Tom Cruise starring the movie Born on the 4th of July. This title's incorrect. He was born on the 3rd.
Well, the sequel was called Born on the 5th of July. we broke Emily.
And then we have your bank.
We broke Emily that night that we went through the Tom Cruise puns.
Yeah, while she was driving, we almost all died.
We've almost all died behind the wheel a bunch, though.
Yeah. That does remind me I do need to take the car in for that Takata recall.
Bless you. Hearing the word Takata makes me hungry. By the way, I don't know if you knew this, but David Bowie played Nikola Tesla. And then they shipped the Tesla into space, and they've been playing Space Odyssey from David Bowie. That is just cool as fuck. Elon Musk is a weird guy, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that moment when Tesla is Bowie and Bowie is Tesla.
Yes, it's Bowieception, Teslaception. Did
you catch what movie this was where he was him that there?
No. We could call Beth. I guarantee you she knows. Hey, Beth, you're probably not listening to this either.
Yet.
You will be. whether you like it or not. We're gonna come over and Clockwork Orange you. You're gonna listen to this fucking thing. You ever seen that movie?
No, that sounds quite unpleasant.
That's a fucked up movie. Like that's a really properly fucked up movie. I haven't seen it all, but I've seen enough of it to know that it's a pretty fucked up movie. So yeah, well, I don't know what everybody thinks about. Elon Musk is a cool dude, but the thing is, I kind of think we should take care of the planet we're on before we go to another planet and destroy that planet too.
Backup plan, yo.
True, but look what we did to this one. In modern human history,
We can fuck up Mars that much more quickly.
well, my problem with it is though we're destroying the planet. Modern human history began, I would say, Industrial Revolution. I mean,
Prior to, things had been a good bit, certainly less entertaining.
Yeah.
That was a real big quabble with, history class. I really do not care what the cave people had been doing prior to, the steam engine.
yeah, so since the advent of the I mean, look how fast that we've destroyed. So we're going to destroy Mars that fast too. So, I mean, I think we should kind of concentrate. It would kind of be like it would. To me, the colonization of Mars is like if you were to own a house that was quite livable, needed a little repair, and then you bought another house 200 miles away, and you were like, well, we might live in that one day. We're going to concentrate on that one, though. We're going to rebuild that one instead of the one you live in. So to me, it doesn't make any sense. And it's a lot more expensive to... It's not like driving 200 miles to that house where it's flying to Mars.
What if instead you do it all on the same city block? Maybe in the historic district of a nearby city. Someone's employer's done the same thing.
Maybe that Matt Damon movie that just came out where they shrink everybody to smaller size. Maybe they've got the right idea.
Honey, I Shrank the Damons?
Have you seen that video, the music video on fucking Matt Damon?
With this stuff. Oh, yeah, yes.
There's a movie out with Matt Damon in it, and what they do is they know that the Earth's resources are diminishing, so they're shrinking people to like microscopic sizes, but they're shrinking their entire like neighborhood to like the supermarket, the food, everything. They're shrinking it down, so they're using less of it because they're smaller.
The great irony is that using the shrink ray takes an awful lot of power. What is this, Bitcoin?
Bytecoin. Or Shrinky Dink Matt Damon. Does everybody remember what Shrinky... I know we three remember what Shrinky Dinks are.
Toasty!
You know the origin behind that?
What,
from Mortal
Dan
Kombat?
Forden doing that? No.
No, from Mortal Kombat.
Right, I mean, that was the developer who did the voicing of it.
Yeah, he... one of the other developers hated when he did that, and he snuck it in there anyway just to piss the guy off. That kind of sounds like something Thomas would do to me, because he just knows how to push my buttons.
He's making a video game?
I hope so. I was going to say not, but now I hope so.
He's going to make Tetris with an eighth piece.
Tetris was in Russia?
Yep.
Sweet. That was a cool story.
Gaming Historian on YouTube just did a hour documentary on it.
That's cool. I need to watch that.
It's interesting to see how complicated it was to get that game in the 5 years it took for it to be developed and then be sold on Nintendo. That was my first non-Mario game on my Nintendo in early 1990.
I need to go get the Power Glove out real quick and do the rest of the podcast with the Power Glove on.
Well, you said you didn't want to sweat doing a video podcast, because then you'd have to do it. Otherwise, just make silly pictures with it. It's like, I should have brought my Nintendo Zappers, yo.
I've got one of those too.
Gray one, orange one. What's up? I got them both. I'm pointing at my head right now. That's going to happen. And that duck's still going
Steve's
down.
playing Russian roulette with the Nintendo Zappers.
Won't be the first time.
Steve once played it with a loaded gun and won. Steve's badass. Steve wins Connect 4 in 3 moves.
Storm out last night.
Heyo.
No, really. There's a Connect Four exit strategy over
nice.
wherever we were.
Nice.
Not quite the Thirsty Nomad.
Not quite the Thirsty Nomad.
It's an adjacent office park.
Thirsty Nomad's cool. I hope it's never busy there though. Every time we go, so I'm hoping that they stick around long enough. It's hard to sustain that when it's never busy. I don't know if it's busy during the week, but every time I've been, it's been kind of slow. The beer's groovy though, really really good.
It's a cool joint too. Mm-hmm. Especially when any given time one of the employees is dressed like the guy on the label.
Oh fuck yeah! It totally looks like, for those of you who haven't been there, it totally looks like a. Describe this to me. 1920s like speakeasy.
Totally steampunk
Yeah.
guy. Place itself is office park hole in the wall, but the beer's awesome and they've got all manner of unplugged games and the occasional Nintendo device there too.
They suffer from the same horrible location that Blue Blaze does. 'Cause Blue Blaze is...
I've heard Blue Blaze is probably in worse shape for location.
Yeah, it's in a
Itchy side of town.
transitioning neighborhood. We'll be kind. It's when it's busy, it's really really busy. But when it's not busy, it's very slow. But they did think it was a good idea one time to book us. They were like, "Hey, we're gonna have a football game day." It was the second game of the season. We're gonna have the Panthers are playing at home. And we're going to have everybody who didn't go to the game, we're going to have them come over. So we set everything up and did not play one song because everybody was in, it was outdoors. So we set up outdoors. We set our stuff up outdoors, went inside and watched the game.
August?
It was in September.
You'd have melted, right?
I would have melted, yeah. I mean, anything over 60, I would have melted. But
so today's a hot one for you.
Yeah. But they didn't pay. We didn't play any, so they didn't pay us. But they let us drink for free and take home a 4-pack each because we brought all our equipment up. I'm like, hey, you know what? Works for me. But I think in hindsight, I kind of knew it was going to be horrible. But we just that was not a good idea. Panthers were playing at home.
Bit of a bad sitch. So, what's your favorite beer? There's the Blue Blazer, the Pink Blazer, the Yellow Blazer, the Lederhosen,
Chevy Blazer. The s'mores beer on Nitro was really good.
Ooh.
It was really, and they actually, since it's Blue Blaze is sort of a cabin outdoor theme tap. You haven't been there, have you?
No.
It's a very cabiny. So you get there, and even where it is, there's trees and shit around.
Are you saying it's cabin in the woods?
A little less creepy.
Ooh. Oh, you're doing that at daytime.
A little less creepy, but they have like they do bonfires and shit like that too. So they have marshmallows. So it's really good to take the s'mores beer and toss marshmallows in it and let them soak it up.
That.
Oh, it's so damn good.
Instead of the last cabin trip in November, like we're just gonna throw marshmallows in the fire.
Yeah. Our cabin trip, like, thank you, global warming, for having our November mountain cabin trips be shorts and t-shirt weather.
I rather enjoy not having to wear sleeves the whole time.
The first we go to Bryson City, North Carolina, every November. I've been doing it since I was 21, so I've been doing it for 76 years. The first time Thomas and I went, we went with a guy named John and a guy named Matt, and I forgot my bathing suit, and we go into the hot tub outside. I went naked as hell because that's me. But it was so cold outside and it was so windy, like the wind chill. Like we would get out of the hot tub, and as we walked, our footprints would freeze to the deck. You could see outlines of our feet. Thomas's little hobbit feet and everybody else's regular sized feet. Thomas's feet are the size of a gel tab multivitamin, if you've never met him.
What's he up to, a size 6 now?
And kids. And kids' keds. Ugh. I remember when people actually wore keds in school. Did the girls wear keds a lot? Yeah, they did too.
It was all the girls in white keds would have like the little blue tabs on the back of the heel, and all the boys would wear Adidas Sambas.
Yep.
And then I wound up getting a pair of knockoff Sambas, so they had 4 stripes instead of 3.
You rebel.
Those shoes were rubbish.
You know which ones are still some of my favorite are the original Reebok Classics. You remember the Reebok Classics, don't you? Caitlin, do you remember the Reebok Classics? It's the plain-looking ass Reeboks. You could toss them in the washing machine, dry them. Oh, yeah, those things were comfortable. They were like the Reebok's answer to like the Asics.
I was like, what, the Converse All-Star or something?
No, I had a pair of Chuck Taylors. You still have a pair of Chuck Taylors.
Yeah, and they're still terrible. How on earth did anybody play basketball in these terrible shoes?
I don't really think they did. I think they just took photo ops and then took them off and put a real pair of shoes on. There's no way.
I've already got a wide foot, and these do not.
I've played basketball for 20 years, and
they just arrive the way they are, and gotten to be Silent Bob for Halloween of 06 and still have the shoes, and well, at least they look nice.
Steve played a great Silent Bob too. Stayed in character the whole night, just like that. As long as he was in costume, he stayed in character. All right, now he's out of costume.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No ticket.
I went as Dr. House one time, but the thing is, it was right when Batman, the last Batman movie with Christian Bale came out.
With Bane, Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises had just came out, but I went as House. But the thing is, I cut my beard down a little bit, and I had a cane, and I borrowed a cane from you, and I wore a Batman shirt because I'm pretty sure House wore a Batman T-shirt in one of those episodes. I've watched every episode, and like everybody kept asking me if I was crippled Bruce Wayne the whole night. And I'm like, no, I'm House. And they're like, oh, okay. And then like after about the sixth person, are you crippled Bruce Wayne? I'm like, fuck it. Yeah, I'm crippled Bruce Wayne, God damn it. I'm tired of explaining to people that I'm Dr. House. Yes, I'm crippled Bruce Wayne. Jesus. I thought I was being clever, and then they ended up out-clevering me. Halloween sucks when you're an adult.
Only if you make it suck.
Well, a girl at work said, this was during Halloween, she said, what's there fun to do during Halloween around here? She had just moved to the area. I said, I'm 31. I don't do fun on Halloween. She goes, you don't look 31. I'm 18. I'm like, all right, that makes me feel horrible. She goes, yeah, my mom's 34. I'm thinking, that makes me feel even more horrible. And here's what makes me feel...
Bandmate.
Here's what makes me feel even more horribler.
What's her name, Stacy?
No. We have a Stacy who works with us, and she's lovely. Same girl who is 18, and her mom's 34. She has a 3-year-old daughter. So her mother was a grandmother at 31. Jerry. Oh, yeah. That's the world we live in. One of the store managers is about to have his 5th kid, and the oldest one's 7.
So apparently no one's visiting aisle 17.
No, he couldn't pull out of a driveway. Like, how you have your 5th kid and none of them are over 7? And none of them are twins. Nobody wants that many kids. Do they?
Not since the farming days.
Yeah, true. But what are you farming nowadays? Besides Ville.
It's still a thing.
I don't know. I don't. No, I'm fucking funny.
I think it's all crafting mines now anyway. That seems less irritating. It's more productive.
I've never played that. Or Emily plays Minesweeper and somehow wins. I don't know how she does it.
You said proximity awful funny.
That's just, I mean, that's got to be the same. She plays Minesweeper too. She knows how to play it. I don't know how to play it.
That's ridiculous. She's not even using a Windows computer.
I know. She's using a horrible pretend computer while we're recording on this lovely Windows 10 PC that Mr. Steve was very kind enough to build for me, that I've recorded my album on, and now 2 episodes of a podcast.
Thanks, 2007 HP. Thanks, Bob.
Bob again gets the shout out.
Yup.
Well, we are we're on Facebook now, so it's facebook.com/CBGPod. It will be youtube.com/CBGPod once we get our subscribers to 100, because YouTube will not let you change the URL of your channel until you get 100 subscribers, which is fair enough.
Now 7 Alpha Vector 9.5.
Yeah, I don't have that one memorized. I do have all my credit cards and debit card numbers memorized, but I don't have that mishmash.
You've got Diners Club number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 0.
Niner.
1, 2.
Walkie-talkie. Damn it. I miss Chris Farley. But we have Brian Kirkman, who does a damn good Chris Farley impression.
It's true.
We need to have him as a guest one time.
He's ready and willing.
Feely's ready and willing too. We got a lot of ready and willing folks.
Hi guys, you don't know us, and here's more people you don't know talking about more shit you don't care about.
You know what?
That's the podcast.
You know what? You know what? There are there's a lot of people out there that listen to a lot of podcasts. So I'm sure that this is not the most ear grating podcast people listen to. I'm sure there's a lot boring. I don't think this is boring. Kaylin, do you think this is boring? She's biased though, because but Emily would tell me it was boring. But Emily doesn't like anything but me and crime dramas. And not necessarily in that order.
Hey, did you hear about the fake murder on the TV?
It killed. But you can visit us on Facebook now, and all the channel link will be on YouTube. So I think this one's a wrap too. So I think we'll see you guys again in a couple of weeks.
Let's get some chicken wings. See y'all whenever.
Chicken wings sounds dank. Sauced or dry? I'm a sauce guy.
Do not care.
Don't care?
Give me the chicken wings.
I'm a saucy guy. We are two wild and saucy guys. On that note, thanks Steve for Steve Martin. I'm AJ.
And I'm AJ for Steve. Wait, that's you. I'm doing this wrong, aren't I?
I don't think there's a right way to do it.
Okay, cool.
There's not a wrong way to eat a Reese's, so there's not a wrong way to end a podcast.
Use promo code WTF at checkout.
Yep. Later. That was a good ending.